So let's just come home to our sense of touch for a moment. So however we're standing, it doesn't have to be a pose, but just notice your feet, right? Notice the interface of the bottoms of the feet and the ground. And imagine we've got a triangle from the heel to the big toe base to the little toe base, and put equal weight or equal pressure into each of those 3 points. Both feet have this triangle, and let's balance out all 6 of those points. Remember to leave a little play in the knees. Even when our knees are straight, we're not locking them, because that cuts off circulation and it makes us less balanced. We want to have, even when we're being still, we want to have a little give to our knee. Notice where else in the body we may be overdoing it, and let's let our muscles hold us up. Just like our easy pose when we're sitting down, we're going to let the structure of our body, the scaffolding, our good old skeleton, we want to let the hard part hold us up against gravity. So as much as possible, let the soft part, the flesh, the connective tissue, the skin, the muscles, release into the bones. Feel the bones. I like to picture my skeleton. Notice the hard part of the body holding us up against that wonderful pull of gravity. Okay, let's interlace our hands here, and we're going to flip the palms and go up above our ears. And then as we breathe in, let's lift up onto the toes and push up towards the sky. And as we breathe out, we're going to land the heels, but pull the shoulders down the spine. It's like we're pumping out or pressing out the breath. And on the inhale, let's reach long again. And then on the exhale, compress. Okay, let's do one more. Awesome. Let's release the hands, and let's let the shoulders and the arms swing loose. But let's clap the hands before and after us, just to introduce rhythm into it and get our limbs nice and free and flowing and unstiff, unstuck. Okay, let's spin our propellers here a little bit. Just let the arms swing in the shoulders. Just take a few laps either direction, right? Once you feel like one way is warmed up, let's swing them the other way. Okay, now a challenge I've learned. I've been trying to learn dance moves from YouTube, and one I'm trying to work on here is same thing, but golly, I have no pit in my shirt anymore. Let's keep the arms opposite one another, right? So just rotate windmill style, that's it.
How are you learning dancing on YouTube?
There's tons of teachers. Well, some is just by watching dance videos and old Soul Train and people performing, but also there's tons of teachers that are like, here's how you dance at a rave, here's how you dance at a German beer hall, here's how you dance at a Shinto ceremony, you know?
So it's not necessarily like waltz or two steps.
So you can, you can totally learn that. I haven't gone there very much, but I've learned a ton of good dance stuff on YouTube. Okay, let's make sure our feet are flat and stable, just regular old easy pose. And we'll work with our scooping up the solidity of the earth and gathering in the dazzling heavens, right? And once we have that stuff, we think of it as the yin and yang, dark, heavy, slow, dense down here that we want and we need. We're gonna pull it up through our body, charging our body with those qualities, and then just releasing the arms and giving it a little bend to the knees. It just helps us get low, right? Because we want to get what the ground has and bring it up, take that into us, and then let it out to the side. Okay, let's take some the other way. And as we go up, so we'll inhale to scoop up, and we can even lift up on the toes to get a little taller. Inhale and grab the lightning, and we'll pull it down the front of the body. Who doesn't need some lightning? And we'll charge ourselves with it and let the arms sweep to the side. And then again, on the inhale, we reach up for the light and the heat and the fire and the air. And we'll bring that down through our body, high energy, fast stuff. Because we gotta have the fire to keep us going, but we also have to have the stone to contain it, right? We gotta be able to be still and solid sometime if we really want to be able to be fast and light. And it's always a different percentage on a different day for a different person in a different mood. There's no like hard and fast ways to say, I'm gonna save all my energy. I'm gonna be full of energy. You have to learn how to let it go and let it have peaks and valleys, basically. Rest when rest is available. Okay, this time, let's get both feet right together, and we're going to pivot on the right heel so that the right toe faces 90 degrees, right? Now, as much of a knee bend as we can. It's even okay to come up onto the toes if that helps to get lower. And we're just gonna get our hands out in front of the right foot, okay? About a foot ahead of the toes and equally split. My toes are on a line right between my hand, right in the middle of my hands, okay? Now the next step is just to straighten both legs so that now we're balanced on the right leg. And our hands are still down, but let's go ahead and test our balance by lifting the hands just to make sure that our leg is doing the lifting, our hands are just helping, okay? Now, plant the right hand, either on the palm or the flat of the hand or on the fingertips. I do it both ways depending on the day. Get real solid in your right hand by sending weight forward into your head, into your right hand. Okay, and then once your right hand is solid, we're just going to bring the left arm up. And once it feels pretty steady, once it feels pretty stable, we'll just make little adjustments, opening the front of the body. That's the whole goal here. Opening the hips to the left, opening the chest and the shoulders to the left. Okay, let's do the other side. We're just going to pivot on the left heel. We'll come down right over the feet. We'll get the hands planted in front of the left foot. Okay, and then the next step, hands are helping us balance. We put all of our weight into the left leg. Both knees are straight. So the right leg's just sticking out in space. Okay, get used to having the left leg support us. And then we're going to get very serious about our left hand by sending weight out into our head, leaning out into the arm instead of back into the hip. Try to split the weight between the forward arm, the left arm, and the left leg. And then we'll take the right arm up. That's our cue to start opening, right? Turn the shoulders to the right. Point the toes at the sky, point the knee at the sky. Wrap it up in whatever way feels comfortable and fun. Okay, let's go ahead and step our feet right together. And we're going to reach our arms forward, tuck the tailbone back so that we have this big, strong curve in the spine. And we're going to sit down on our invisible chair, right? Squeeze the beach ball. That's a way of working the arms and the shoulders. Activate the upper body by squeezing the beach ball. Pull the shoulders back and down. Okay, let's come on down. Let the heels lift and we'll bring our weight into the hands and let the upper body melt. Okay, I like to sort of trap my knees. It's not necessary, but it just feels sort of comfortable to me to push my knees together. And then I'm just dropping my head and releasing my neck and shoulders. Okay, try to let our arms and our head and our shoulders, as much as possible, just stay released and hanging loose. And we'll just gently begin to bring our knees towards straight. We're looking for that good feeling of stretch in the back of the legs. It might not feel good as we usually understand it, but we know it's good for us. So we come to enjoy that feeling after a time. We're like, oh, that's a big stretch. I can feel myself calming down. And of course, any amount of knee bend is fine. It's like locking the knees is not it's not what we have to do. The goal, as with any forward fold, is to find a tolerable lengthening of the back of the legs that we can relax into. Because the longer we can spend here, the better. I figure people will get bored, but I know I've been promising for a while now to do a restorative class, but with those we set up poses like this and then do it for 5 minutes. Even that is not too long. The body continues to open and continues to release. That's why those classes are so powerful, because you're like, wow, and it's all about melting and sinking and releasing. It's a wonderful thing. But sometimes it gets boring, and then we just find a way to focus on it again. Find a way to get back in there, get back into the physical. Okay, let's take our catcher's pose. So bend the knees to make it pliable and movable, and let's bring our feet out wide, and we're just going to sit down like we're a baseball catcher. Okay? Couple points of activation. We're going to get our elbows inside the knees, palms together, and we're going to bring our thumb knuckle to our sternum. Okay? And our head keeps lifting towards the sky. Right? Shoulders go back and down. We're pressing our heart forward into our hands. Okay, that's good. Let's just go ahead and sit back. And we'll go out wide, but with straight knees. That's going to let us access these muscles inside the legs here. Use the hands and arms. Make a plan to stay upright like we do in easy pose as we set it up, right? We're going to use our hands and arms to guide ourselves into that perfect place where we got a good, tolerable, stretchy feeling happening inside the legs. Then we don't have to be so tight with the upper body. We can just settle in. I like to make the hinge in the hips, like we're keeping the upper body tall until last, because that just makes sure we achieve our number one priority, which in a forward fold, this forward fold is getting to the leg muscles. Okay, let's come on upright. And then we're going to take both legs out straight in front of us. Staff pose, Dandasana. Danda is a stick or a staff in Sanskrit, and asana is a pose. So anytime you hear a yoga pose that's something asana, that's something pose. So Dandasana is stick pose. Okay, let's turn our palms up and let our hands rest. Make sure that the shoulders can release, and then let's pull the shoulder blades back towards one another. Just set it up. We don't have to keep it going, but just remember what it feels like to open the front of the body and to broaden the shoulders on purpose. And then just let the shoulders release. We're strongly activating the lower back here because it's hard. If we just go with gravity here, we're going to melt. First our back and our head will drop, and then we'll melt on back to the floor. But we're very specific about what muscles we're using and how we're doing it, right? That's why we're here, to use our body on purpose. So once we got the shoulders released, we do what we normally do in easy pose. We relax the belly, make sure that's not where we're working, and then we get strong and powerful in our lower back. We just switch on those muscles along the lowest vertebrae, right above the hips. That's our foundation here, is our lower back. And just keep doing it for another couple moments. Focus on what it feels like. Until I discovered yoga and sort of came to love yoga, anytime someone was talking about self-discipline, I always heard the subtext of like doing what they wanted to do. I didn't want discipline because it felt like discipline is always under someone else's control. But once I learned this and what it means to be strong on purpose in a way that I have chosen, then I was like, oh, I see why people are into self-discipline, because to pick something and then to do it makes us feel good, makes us feel full of agency and strong. It's another way that yoga helps us out, because I'm the kind of person, I don't want to take instructions, I don't want to be told what to do, but I also don't want to tell other people what to do. So I've had to get over that aspect of like being strong with myself and getting my will out and willing and acting and doing on purpose, because that doesn't come naturally to me. I'm passive to a flaw, and I just go with the flow. This teaches me that sometimes it's time to be hard, and sometimes you got to be firm, and sometimes you must choose to work hard. But it becomes a game when we do it like we want to do it. When it's us setting up the disciplines, it's fun and it's full of love and laughter because we're doing it. We're amusing ourselves and we're doing it in a way that suits us. And that's where the specialness comes from, because we're setting up these challenges to make ourselves stronger. Okay, let's get the hands to the mat just behind the hips, fingertips pointing forward, and we'll take some reverse plank. That just means we'll lock the knees, press up with the front of the hips, find just the right amount of lift, right? It doesn't have to be as hard as we can. There's no external shape we're trying to make. We just want to keep pushing up. And we find that equilibrium between gravity pushing us down and our own lifting. Okay, let's ease our seat back to the mat. And we'll just pass through Dandasana. Let's reach up, push up to make space in our spine, and then hinge it forward over both legs. One of our main forward folds here, seated forward fold. We more often do it one leg at a time, but doing it with both legs is wonderful, wonderful stuff. I'm sure I've mentioned before, these forward folds is what first got me into the practice, because it's what I needed, just a way to be a physical practice to make myself centered and calmer and chiller. That was what I needed and still need. Okay, let's take our hands behind us, join our fingers, and then pull up overhead. Use this to open the shoulders and to deepen our fold forward, if that's appropriate. Awesome. Let's come on up, and we're going to set up our cow-faced pose is one name for it, but our eagle pose. It's basically cow-faced pose is our legs, and then we'll do our eagle arms. So let's take the left on the bottom. Our left knee is going to bend, and we'll take our left foot nice and snug to the right side. We want to find that border, right? Really snug into the shape of the body. And of course, the right will go on top. Right foot comes around to the left hip in that direction. Got knees stacked up on one another, pointed as much as possible forward. Okay? Check in. Do the normal easy pose checklist, although this is it's not quite as easy as usual, but we still want to have the shoulders back and down and calm and relaxed, and our abs, our core switched off, and our lower back doing most of the work of uprightness. And then we'll take it to the arms. So let's extend both straight at first. Because our left leg is on bottom, we'll take the left arm on the bottom. We're going to cross as high as possible first. Cross way up high on the upper arms, and then we're going to bend the elbows and twine the arms together. Okay? Press each hand inward, press each hand into the other arm or hand. Compression is the name of the game here. And then this is called eagle pose because our hands, flattened hands, are like our beak. So send your beak forward, right, in front of your face, or the direction that we're facing. Keep it reaching forward. And of course, we're doing all this weird stuff with our arms and hands, but the real work is in our shoulders. I'm sure you feel it, but I just like to mention the obvious sometimes, that the place that we're working is not the place where the work ends. Okay, keep reaching away. Keep the beak lengthening, and we're going to come up with the elbows. Steady, consistent work here. Okay, let's release the arms, and then let's use the hands and arms and see if we've got some forward fold in us, right? See what the legs and hips say. We're not forcing anything on them, but we want to make them answer or ask them what they think. We want to move until they're affected, and they're telling us they're affected. And then we just hang out right there and listen to what they have to say. That's another massive thing that yoga teaches us too, is that what I used to think of as pain and discomfort is not pain and discomfort per se, or you can sort of move the chains back a little bit, because a lot of times we get so protective of ourselves that any sensation is painful. We get hypersensitive. So yoga teaches us to be more conscious and listen to the body more. And what I realize is, like, things I would have called pain, like today, for example, when it's warm enough, I like to walk on the grass barefoot, even when it's that prickly, beige grass, like that is out there now that my dog loves to roll in. That used to, I didn't like that. It felt like it was prickling unpleasantly, but now I love that feeling, and because I've realized, like, it's not pain, it's just intense poking that the grass is giving me. Sometimes we can move the goalpost or move the chains a little bit, and realize that we're not as fragile as we thought, and that it's good to interface with the world in more ways. For a variety of reasons, nature and nurture, I was always very fastidious, washed my hands a lot, and didn't like to have my hands sticky. Now, a lot of that comes from autism spectrum and sensitivity to physical sort of things, but I also, it kept me from being in contact with the world. Let's roll it back upright. And we're going to undo the legs, and we'll take the right on the bottom, right foot tucked over to the left hip, left's on the top. Okay, take a second to make an easy pose out of it. Release and settle. And this time we've got the right leg on the bottom, so we'll start with straight arms. Take the right arm on the bottom, and then twine them together. We'll press the arms into one another, lengthen our beak, and then as the beak lengthens, steadily pushing outward, let's steadily pull upward with the elbows. I had a wonderful experience where I went caving and spent a night in a cave in Tennessee. This was with a youth group with the Alliance Church when I was a kid. I think I was in 7th or 8th grade. And I was so claustrophobic, and I wasn't conscious of not wanting to get dirty, but I just felt enclosed. I just felt like I was uncomfortable because I was next to people and next to rock, and it was very dark, and I just felt claustrophobic. But then we had to get on our belly and crawl, and all of a sudden I was covered in mud from head to toe. Then I was like feeling the wall and like everything, it was like I got rid of that all of a sudden by immersing myself in it. And then I was like glad to touch things, but it was funny. It just made a massive difference getting all the way dirty. All right, let's release the arms and we'll just fold forward with the upper body. That immersion in the mud was early in the day, and it really made me enjoy the rest of the trip. There's a massive cavern that's big. I imagine maybe like 2 or 3 football fields, just a massive area under a super tall roof, just like the main cabin of the cave. So we bought tents and camped out in there. It was so incredible. I still can see images from that trip if I think back. They also were proving how deep this hole was, and it was used as a fallout shelter. So they were stocked like old crackers and water bottles and stuff like that. And our tour guide threw a pack of crackers into this hole, and it was a very long time before we heard like the faintest, the faintest splash down at the bottom. It was a deep hole, but it was neat that he used the sound to tell us how deep it was. All right, let's come on back upright. And let's set up for some boat pose. So we'll start with our knees right in front of us, lift the heart, press the solar plexus forward, and we'll get the hands and arms out and just balance, right? And maybe this is enough. Obviously, this is using muscles already. Like we're active, we're balancing. This is good for us right here. But we can make it harder by straightening the knees. Let's do it with control. Let's find places that feel easier and harder, or just give full attention to it. Explore it as opposed to just sort of, sometimes I tend to just go from point A to point B, but I always have way more fun when I can remember to just fully zoom in there and feel what's opening and what's closing and what muscles are working and which are still. Okay, let's extend the legs, and from here we'll turn this into our fish pose. A lot of times we do fish pose coming up from the ground, so this is the way we do it from our seat. We're just going to sit on the fingertips and then start pulling back with the elbows, and use this pull to open the front of the body, right? Steady pulling back with the shoulders, and then we're going to touch down with the elbows. Take a moment to settle in, and then we're going to lift the heart, lift the solar plexus towards the sky. It's the back muscles that are working. As much as possible, let the front of the body be open and free so that we can stretch and make space there. Remember to breathe. I like to imagine I'm sending my breath into the solar plexus, the same place. That's the center of my attention. I'm sending some inhales into that point as well. Stoking the fire, right? These forward folds, these back bends are the opposite of forward folds. They're meant to stoke our fires and get us more active in our heartbeat and our blood pump, and build energy as opposed to release energy. Okay, let's keep our elbows for another moment, but let's take our arms to the side or take our hands to the side. And then first, flatten out the back of the hips, right? Because we're sort of tipped up on the tailbone and we're going to flatten back, right? Notice what that feels like. Find the very lowest vertebrae. I get the feeling the lowest one I can feel touch down is not the very lowest one, but find, find the first one that touches down and pause right there. And that's going to be our focal point where our backbones, plural, meet the floor as we roll up, right? As soon as we feel a new one, pause, settle into it, and then go to the next. And once the back of our head is touching down, just release, settle, feel the embrace of gravity. The secret about resting is sometimes we think if we stay in go mode, I will always be prepared. I know that hypervigilant feeling, like if I just keep going, the bad thing won't have a chance to get in. But the secret is, the bad thing will happen whether we're tight or loose. But if we stay tight and we stay activated all the time, we are not as powerful as when we have moments of rest, right? Our system needs the dark, needs the nighttime as much as it needs the daytime. So when we are in a position like this to totally switch off, we try to get good at being, I think of it as being actively passive, right? We try to get there and switch it off and enjoy it. These days, if I don't have time for a full-on nap, like I don't have time to go to sleep, I really enjoy just lying on my back in my bed and just doing nothing on purpose. Keeping in my sense of touch, like staying present and feeling my body, but just as much as possible, keeping things switched off. It's refreshing, right? It might not be quite as good up there as a good nap, but it's a great practice. It's not a practice because it feels good. I mean, practice can feel good, but you know what I mean. It's not an official thing. It's just something that works. Okay, let's step in with both feet. All right, both feet flat on the floor. We're gonna step over with the right knee. So the right knee stacked on the left. Check in on the left shoulder. Let that stay in contact with the floor, and then we're gonna lower to the right. Just let the knee sink to the right. Feel how that makes space outside the left hip and up into the left side of the body. Try to do only what you have to do to keep the knees stacked up. Otherwise, be free to let gravity reshape you, to let gravity weigh on the legs and make this wonderful space outside the left body. Okay, let's come back to center. And we'll undo the knees and redo with the left on top. Right shoulder is our anchor. Not that we have to push down, we just want to know what it feels like. And then lower the knees with control to the left. And when it gets over there, our job becomes simplifying and releasing. Another case of being actively passive. How many things can we switch off? Okay, let's come on back to center. And we'll undo the knees. Take it nice and easy. Let's just roll to one side or the other. And we'll meet up in an easy pose and do some tinkering with our breath. Enjoyable experimentation with how we're breathing. So I think the one we'll do today, my main tool when I'm in social situations that stress me out, is Ujjayi, the good old Darth Vader breath. So let's practice a little bit of that. Closing that's good. Closing the glottis a little bit so that it creates a drag and it lengthens the inhale, lengthens the exhale. Slowing the breath down is calming and soothing on our nervous system, on the whole system, the body system. But now we have that sound. It makes it easier to keep our mind on our breath, because now we can hear it and we feel it because we're breathing differently. We're more aware of the sensation of air passing over the throat. So it helps keep our mind in the forefront of our attention. Just take a few rounds of Ujjayi. Let it find its own sort of stability. Awesome. I think that'll do us for this evening. The best in me bows to the best in you. Namaste. Excellent.